Trump just made unprecedented history with what he just did for every citizen in America. President Donald Trump made America great when the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit 22,000 for the first time in history. This literally shattered a previous stock market record. The numbers sat at just about 18,000 months ago, but now they've toppled that with an amazing first in American stock market history. Trump announced this on his Twitter feed to keep Americans in the loop because leftist media often ignore Trump's wins. Regardless of how you feel about President Trump, you can't deny that he has had several winning stories in his brief time in the White House. To see the stock market rise like that, it is a level of success we haven't ever seen. The stock market shattered yet another milestone Wednesday, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average reaching 22,000 points for the first time. The 131-year-old index received a 50-point boost from Apple, whose shares saw a 6% hike after Tuesday's strong earnings report. Stock market could hit all-time high again, 22,000 today, President Donald Trump had tweeted early on Tuesday morning, as stocks approached the milestone figure, was 18,000 only 6 months ago on Election Day. Mainstream media seldom mentions Trump makes a point there. The mainstream media seems too focused on the negative and doesn't seem to have enough eyes on the positive. Perhaps America would already be great if the mainstream media cared more about the good news of the world, but if they did that, then would anyone read it, or would it not gain enough clicks to their ads? Controversy is juicy morsels of goodness for publications because lots of people enjoy reading about drama. Markets have been on a steady upward trajectory since last fall, with optimism about a more business-friendly administration helping to drive the Dow Jones through the 20,000 barrier on November 22, 2016, before rising to a new record of 21,000 on March 1. Strong quarterly corporate earnings paved the way for Wednesday's milestone, with markets hitting multiple record highs throughout the month of July. Almost 3/4 of companies who reported came in ahead of analyst expectations, including key drivers such as Boeing and McDonald's. Breaking the 22,000 barrier is a psychological level for market watchers, but as the Dow's overall number increases, each time it goes up by another 1,000 points represents a smaller swing in overall performance. Last fall is when people began getting excited about a president who might be more friendly to businesses. This helped push the Dow Jones beyond the previous number of 21,000. A majority of companies who reported their numbers have outperformed the expectations of expert analysts. It's good to see business booming and thriving in a world dominated by online transactions and purchases. If there is one thing Trump has done for America, it's certainly been great for business as these numbers hopefully continue to rise. Stock market professionals warn that what goes up might come crashing down. The question is, how much will the Dow drop? If it drops to previously stable levels, then that's fine and this is just a bonus. If it drops tremendously, then people might take a hit on their investments. This is something to keep an eye on as the new Dow Jones numbers are reported. Trump likes to tweet his small wins because the leftist mainstream media often ignores his victories. Liberal media enjoys focusing on the negative aspect of Trump's presidency, and that's not helping anyone. If anything, it's boring, lame, and quite frankly annoying to read. If the mainstream news remained neutral, allowed people to gather their own thoughts and opinions, and provided us strictly with facts, then you probably would have heard about the Dow Jones 22,000 already. Sometimes it's up to independent right-wing media outlets and the president himself to notify the public of certain happenings. Dow Jones hitting 22,000 is a major event. It's historic. It has not happened before. If this isn't on mainstream liberal media outlets everywhere, then anyone not running that story should be ashamed of their reporting skills. Mainstream media must report this, even if they're leftists and dislike Trump. You can dislike President Trump all you want, but the facts remain that the Dow Jones just made history. Doesn't matter if you hate Trump or not, that's a hugely positive event for America and everyone knows it. Could you imagine if every news outlet was run by liberals? You might not ever know anything that President Trump did unless you called him on the phone to get a daily update. Mainstream media outlets should remain neutral and let the independent news sites and publications be the bipartisan outlets that people can flock to so they feel welcome. Providing a neutral news perspective in the mainstream media creates a free-thinking society in which people have their own thought process and lean towards the side they more likely agree with. Then readers find bipartisan websites and publications for which they do further reading and find enjoyment in doing so. Mainstream media needs to get off the leftist horse and ride the neutral train into Trump town.